Well, obviously, the elections will not be legit in any way, and the whole world knows it. Why, then, is this stage the absurd? What is Putin expecting of all that, do you think?
It's the way to legitimize occupation in the eyes of his local audience, the first area of his propaganda, and second, to deal with the audience in the countries which are sympathetic to Putin or kind of a neutral, fake neutral countries, let's say this way, because it's impossible to be neutral when it's a war going on in Europe. So it's a society of countries in Africa, in Latin America, which in the idea of Putin will, let's say, one more time be with the idea that everything has happened, occupation has happened, elections after this happened, so let's go forward, let's forget about everything what happened, and let's accept the new reality when this territory is now part of Russia. This is the way how Putin would like to deal with societies of these countries, and of course with his local audience, which always looking for the proof that he's a powerful leader who made what he promised and integrated these occupied territories into Russia.
So do you think that he would be able to do that this time?
It will be difficult because the war is ongoing, and any elections on the territories which can be attacked and shelled, it's not a legitimate election because it's not an election in normal circumstances. Plus, there is no international observers, there is no media coverage, there is no opportunity for plurality of political views on this election. So this is only the fake way to legitimize occupation. But, you know, when you keep the rules of your propaganda machine in your hands, like Putin does, it will be another topic for him to deal with public opinion in the countries I mentioned and inside Russia.
Well, I believe the Russian nation, or rather say the population, will just forgive him about anything. I mean, so they probably are okay with that. But do you believe the sanction is the proper tool? Do you think the sanctions are working? We actually can't, we as a collective West can't do anything about it, but sanctioning the persons, the individuals who take part in this on the side of Russia. Is that, it is legit, we can do it, but do you think this is working? I mean, the sanctions.
In wider sense, of course, not sanctions working good, but if it's personal sanctions, I believe all this propaganda is not happy to be banned for traveling abroad, to have all money, transactions in dollars to be banned, to have no money from abroad. It's not the way how they would like to spend the rest of their life. So maybe not today, but in a few weeks, months or years, they would feel the pressure of the sanctions, for sure.
Amen to that. Putin has, well, he's the one who can change everything there. He's the owner of the country. But the nation should be responsible for that because they gave him the key to the castle for 25 years of anything. He's absolute Tsar. And it's okay for the domestic population of Russia to accept even these so-called elections.
We cannot deal with public opinion in Russia, frankly speaking, because it's a country living under dictatorship, and it's a country where our voice is not heard well. That is why we can just deal with public opinion abroad to explain global population that these fake elections has no sense and only political legitimization of occupation. But in general, of course, what's going on in Russia, it's crimes and crimes against local citizens as well by dictator taking or seized or catched power many, many years ago. But we can only can do just to show Russians that in their interest is to stop this dictatorship, the seizure of power, because they will pay higher and higher price every year while Putin in power, to increase sanctions, to increase pressure on political and military organization of Russia, to propagandists and to all population. All Russians have to feel this pressure, as it happened in Soviet Union when global democratic community increased sanctions against Soviet Union after invading into Afghanistan.
Okay. Say Putin dies tomorrow. Do you believe that anything will change in Russia?
I think a lot of things will be changed, of course. Not immediately, but it will take some transformation period. as it happened after the death of Brezhnev. It took two more general secretaries, but both of them were almost done. And after this, perestroika started. So in the case of Putin's death, I believe it's going to be like transitional government for a few weeks, years, months, I don't know. And then there is a good chance to reestablish Russia as a country which can be viewed as a successor of Russian dictatorship, able to pay and necessary to pay all compensation to Ukraine, but then taking another path of development. I believe they one day will try to join democratic path of development, but not immediately. It will be difficult,
Right,
because when you spend 25 years in concentration camp of Putin's dictatorship, you cannot be immediately democratic after he loses the power or died.
I absolutely agree with you on that. My last question goes to you as a person, as an individual. Do you think that Russian nation, after Putin in some way goes, I don't know, 6 feet under or just goes, would love to have another Tsar?
It depends on how Putin leaves the power. As Stalin, or as Brezhnev, or as Khrushchev, I don't know, different models. But their willingness depends on their social standards. If they're gonna live poor and poor, if they pay higher and higher price, their willingness to have Tsar will be less and less. This is my answer.
Thank you very much for your time and for your expertise and for what you do. Hope you have us sometime soon back with more questions to talk for more.